The ultimate showdown between Blender and Clip Studio Paint to decide whether free software is better than paid will now commence. These are two of my favorite animation programs because each one has what the other doesn't have. Blender is a free animation app capable of 3D and 2D animation. Clip Studio Paint is a paid animation app for professionals in the comics and animation industry. Using this app, you can create great traditional style illustration because the brush engine in this app is one of the best you'll find around. To test these two apps, we're going to be using the top of the line XenceLabs Pen Display 16 to draw, animate, and push these softwares to their limits. No bottlenecks here. Pen Display features a 4K OLED display. It's thin and light and portable, so you can draw in several different locations. It comes with pen clips that you can position in several different places, making this a nice travel companion for the professional artist. And of course, XenceLabs has my favorite pen. They just have the right amount of buttons. The more the merrier, especially when you're running animation programs. So without further ado, let's see which of these softwares is better for animation. Be sure to leave a like and let's get started. Our last animation software comparison video ended with a cliffhanger. Blender was the winner between the free animation softwares, but how does it compare to the premium paid applications? Both of these softwares are very well optimized for performance. They'll run even on lower end hardware, and they're stable enough for professional work. Both of them are also capable of 2D animation, Clip Studio Paint being the more mature of the two for this specific medium, and Blender breaking into the industry with its new and innovative grease pencil. Another great thing is that both of these softwares get frequent updates. They're constantly improving these two, and we're seeing tons of support, assets, and modifications from both respective communities. The only way I can really compare them to see which one is better is to go by their strengths and weaknesses. Let's start with the paid app, Clip Studio Paint. What are Clip Studio's strengths? Number one is stability. This software has never crashed on me to this day. In terms of reliability, Clip Studio Paint beats Blender by a long shot. It automatically creates backups of your files, as well as including an autosave feature. It's not like OpenTunes where you're trying to piece the program together as you're using it. No offense, OpenTunes. You're an awesome software too. Second main strength is their brush engine. Clip Studio Paint has pencils, pens, brushes, airbrushes, and several different effects. You can make your own brushes within Clip Studio Paint. There are so many parameters to tweak to get your brush exactly where you want it. And of course, there's the asset store if you don't feel like making brushes. I mean, you can paint in this software, almost like traditional paint. It's amazing. Last strength of Clip Studio Paint, I believe, arrived in version 3, where you can customize your own 3D characters. Clip Studio Paint gives you an easy entry-level way to character design. In the latest version of Clip Studio Paint, which is 4.0, you can now paint onto 3D models the same way you can texture paint in Blender. These are more for drawing reference. Now, technically you can animate these 3D models in Clip Studio, but it's just not made for that. Oh, I gotta put another strength in there. Another strength of Clip Studio Paint is the layering system specifically for animation. Long story short, individual frames in Clip Studio Paint can actually be a whole layer folder. Instead of creating multiple layers for your lines, colors, light, and shadow, you can put that all in one animation layer, but each frame is a folder that has layers for lines, colors, lights, and shadows. That's awesome. That keeps your timeline very neat and concise. But one major weakness of Clip Studio Paint is the animation timing controls. They're just basic. It's not like OpenTunes where you can reframe your animation to 2s, 3s, or 4s. You can reverse things. You can put the frames in random order. You really don't get any of that. If you want to change all of your frames to a certain exposure, you just have to do it manually. It's inefficient. Another weakness of Clip Studio Paint is the keyframe functionality. Again, just very basic. You have your basic slopes. You can add to some keyframes, ease in, ease out type of deal, but that's pretty much it. Clip Studio Paint doesn't have several different interpolation modes, step functionality, reframing tools, an animation spline editor. They're just not here. And by the way, all of the features we're talking about are in the EX version of Clip Studio Paint. This goes for $258 USD as of now. Of course, you can get it on sale. sometimes for around half that price. If you downgrade to the Pro version, around $60, you're only gonna get 24 frames of animation max. Either way, the software is excellent. I use it for all of my YouTube thumbnails. But when it comes to innovation and changing the 2D animation industry as a whole, should we switch over to Blender? Blender is a jack of all trades and master of none. Well, master of like at least 2 or 3 of them, unless you're like a really state-of-the-art animation studio and you need like top-of-the-line technology. Blender's pretty much a master at everything it does. And we're talking 3D animation, 2D animation, puppet animation. The keyframe and timing controls in Blender are fantastic. You can move keyframes, scale keyframes. You have several different interpolation modes, anything an animator could want. You can also edit videos in Blender. You can model in Blender, and you can build your armature and rig your character in Blender as well. You can color grade in Blender, several different compositing effects. You can make shaders in Blender for things like fire, water, electricity effects. It's also a special effects engine. You can simulate real-time rigid and soft body physics in Blender. Blender is more capable than Clip Studio Paint. You can simply do more things. But what about 2D animation? Well, now we've come to see Blender's weakness. Blender's brush engine is simply not made for traditional style 2D animation. Now, to be fair, for most animation styles, you're just going to be using a pen with really no line weight. If that's all you're using, you'll find Blender fine. But when it comes to simulating paint and ink splashes, it's just not as intuitive as Clip Studio Paint. Again, I'm really pushing for a weakness here because both of these softwares are excellent. So when it comes to traditional illustration, traditional 2D animation, Blender may not be the tool for you. And for the sake of this video, we can see it as a weakness, but maybe we shouldn't, because Blender is an all-in-one animation suite, and it completely eclipses everything that Clip Studio Paint could hope to be. We're moving out of the era of traditional 2D animation into the era of just animation. 3D, 2D, puppet, doesn't matter. So which software should you invest time in learning is the most capable and reliable for your future? Which of these is the 2D animation software for you? It would have to be Blender 3D. Special thanks to XenceLabs for sending out their Pen Display 16. You can check out XenceLabs in the description below to see their entire lineup of professional level drawing tablets. I've tried all of them, with the exception of the 24, maybe we'll see that soon. They have their fingers on the pulse of quality products, especially in their driver interface. Go check them out. I will see you guys in the next one. Happy animating.